those of you watching at home, thank you for coming. This is Thejas Prasad. He's one of the co-founders and currently a senior data scientist at Cerebri AI, a startup here in Austin. He's also a UT Austin alum who studied electrical engineering. So I'll let him introduce himself, but thank you, Thejas, for coming here and joining us, talking to our attendees. Do you just want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you inserted, you gave me a good introduction. So yeah, back when I was a senior at UT, a couple of my friends and I, we started a startup called Cerebri. Kind of grew out from there. It was a small startup answering questions using IBM Watson and so on and forth on social issues. So we grew the company, got hired like a CTO, CEO, and now we're about 60 people, and we work mainly in customer engagement, customer success, and so on and forth. And we use AI and machine learning for that. Yeah,
So
that's what we do, and that's a bit of a background.
Awesome. Can you talk about how you kind of got interested in these fields, data science, AI, what kind of drew you to them and how you learned about it more?
Yeah, sure. So the way that I got into these fields, it started, okay, so my junior year, I did an internship, not an internship. I started doing research under professor in NLP. He was in information sciences, and he was doing canonical NLP work. So that's where I kind of started. I did a bit of research under him. I was always interested in data, but I never knew what it really meant. That's kind of how I got started. And then once the companies got started, my main work was building the design and so on forth for all the data science stuff. So the way that I had to deal with it was just like experimentation. So it was not really theory focused rather than real world application, solving customer problems and actually seeing, hey, why are we actually solving these problems and how do we solve it? How can we use AI, ML, data science, and whatnot?
Gotcha. So you said you started this company with some friends senior year of college.
Right. So yeah, so the story goes like this, right? So my junior year, or it's actually it was my first semester senior year, I think. Yeah. So what happened was we a couple of students, or we were taking a class rather. That class was based on it was a CS class, and it was a free for all design in IBM Watson application, and it was designed by IBM, and the whole premise was a bunch of schools around the world, around the United States, would convene in a location and present, and whichever was the best presentation or whichever best project would win the competition. And ours won the competition, and the focus was on 211. It's similar to 911, but it's especially answering questions about social services. So we built an app that utilized Watson, and we won the competition, won 100K. And as part of that, it was, hey, you got to start a company, and then we kind of did, which none of us really wanted to do, but we did. And I kind of stayed because I didn't have anything else to do.
So
So
you were kind of forced into the role of an entrepreneur by
yeah, I kind of like stumbled upon it. Never asked for it, but I think it was the best thing that could happen in a way, because it kind of made me from quiet person and shy person into pretty active, and yeah, pretty, I don't know, pretty active person.
Yeah. So I guess can you talk about some of the experiences that you've had as an extremely, I guess, young entrepreneur compared to a lot of other people in the industry? What's that experience been like?
So yeah, for sure. So the main key differences that I've had is actually from day one, it was a lot of interacting with customers, clients, and solving problems from that end. So it's a bit different on that. And also it was from day one having the design, like design and architecture of the whole organizations. So those were kind of like a key things that was, I think, very, a juniors might not understand. And when you come in for any other company, you're always placed in, at a certain level. So you don't know the whole organization map as well as the business roadmap. So these are the questions that I've seen, like building, not even if I've not built at the business roadmap from day one, it's being involved in that. Build, being involved in hiring, being involved in the strategic decisions, which as a fresh grad you kind of don't see. Um, Yeah, I think those are the main thing that I would say is the differentiating factor. Though the lack, I mean, on the contradictory, the lack is that um, if you go to a larger company, that there is a lot of structure, so you get to learn from the people who are experts. So here, in my case, there wasn't necessarily experts in my technical fields. They're experts in terms of business, but not technically. So for me, it was literally going a lot of these online forums, trying to figure out what am I doing, is it correct, and getting validation from that. I guess those are the main differences. It does its pros and cons.
I see. So almost bouncing off of your answer to this question, who would you say are some of your role models, either in entrepreneurship or in life in general?
That's a good question. To be honest, okay, so I mean, I have a. Let me answer this question by actually um, doing what I do now. I have a good amount of mentors that actually are in the Austin area, which I kind of like always have a conversation on a weekly basis. On a weekly basis, like some on a weekly basis, some on a monthly basis, and so on and forth. Um, so that helped me keep me in track. Those more than role models, those are like my guiding light in terms of how to grow in my career. Because it's been a natural trend that you start a company at this early, and then it's me trying to fit where do I go next. These are the questions that I mean they help me answer. Um, Whereas like the larger people that I actually view and consider, I don't know. I mean, I think Elon Musk is probably out there. I started looking up to him very recently, just because he's just crazy in a way. Like he, no matter what, he gets things done, and you know, those are kind of like very things that I kind of look up to.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I
Yeah,
guess that's
I'd
one.
like to I'd like to jump in with a question real quick. So
Okay.
you mentioned earlier before Elon Musk that you have some mentors in Austin
Yeah.
who you meet with on a weekly basis. How do you recommend students or anyone who's looking for a mentor go about finding people like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can tell you what I did. So it for me, for the first mentor that I got was actually through Capital Factory. So there was a coffee mentor, and when I was like, you have a coffee with a mentor, and then kind of we clicked. So he's been a mentor since then. That's one way, right? And the other thing is like reach out to people that you think are interesting. Most of them are ready to give you feedback. If they're not, I mean, there's nothing that you got to lose. So that's one way I guess that I have done, and um, through connections, right? So my mentor told, hey, you should talk to this other person, and that other person became another mentor. So it's been literally, once the door kind of, if you ask one person, they usually lead to other people that you can kind of start networking. That's one way. The other one is trying to go to meetups and so on and forth. There are people who are always better than you. I mean, like not better per se, but like more ahead in their career. So you can always ask to them, look up to them, ask questions, and not everyone can be your mentor. There's some people who are great and amazing, but like if you don't have the click, the synergy. It's really hard to have that mentorship. So always kind of try to keep networking, and the networking in this terms is just going out to like meetups, so on and forth, trying to meet people and so on forth. That's what I would say.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, almost hopping off of what you said, so you talked to your mentor a lot about, I guess, the future of where you're going, how you intend to get there. Could you
Right.
just talk about where do you see like the field that you're working in, kind of AI data science in 10, 15 years? Do you think we'll have fully realized AI? What's your projection?
um okay, so I mean to be honest, I think that's you're pushing that. I think it'll be more developed right now. I mean, it's pretty naive, and a lot of things are just like glorified heuristic based things. Any AI that's done is like, people will say I've done ABC and build these models, but in the end you're just solving basic business problems. And I worked in a lot of various fields, right? So a lot of from banking to insurance to automotive and so on and forth. And in each one of these fields, like when you actually go to the industry, it's just breaking in. Like a lot of this, like if for example in banking insurance, people still have cold feet um, on AI and machine learning. And let's take in banking, there have been, like, for more than decades, there has been statistical modeling that has been done. And one of our biggest clients, it's providing, a country level GDP. So literally a government bank, and they've done statistical modeling for more than 60 years, to provide GDP. So, like, to add provided value in terms of AI and ML, it's very little in that sense. But obviously, there are fields which are great, right? There is um, um, self-driving cars, IoT, and such things like that that will develop and that will have a really big impact. But the natural trend is, I think, AI and ML will become like a conversation, like it'll become the norm. So it'll become like a skill set that everyone has, just like in software programming. If you want to go into software engineering, people will definitely have, like, object oriented background. Similarly, people will have AI ML background. That's the way that I see it, but and it will become pervasive. But the extent of it, I think I'm still questioning it. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to slightly different. What personality traits do you think, either in you or in general, are required to succeed as an entrepreneur in the tech industry?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, I think one of the things that I I would see that I've done a lot of the self evaluation the past few weeks, so I can give my answer. I think um, building relationships is very important, right? So if you want to go into any company, whether you're going in as like a entry level person or building your own company, the most important thing is having the right people on the bus. So building relationships is key. Um, and sustaining that, right? So you can have the greatest idea in the world, and that can be revolutionary, but if you don't have the right people that you can work with, that you trust, there's no point. So I think that's a key that kind of gets unnoted. And being ambitious, but being brutally honest with yourself. Um so when I say brutally honest, I mean, if there is something that you're not, whether it be in whatever you're doing, whether it be personal relationship with your partner, to your family, and to work, to your actual work that you're doing, you got to be brutally honest. Are you actually doing what you want to do? If there's some kind of friction between you and your boss and your peers, why is there friction happening? How can you solve it? And being brutally honest about such things is very key. Um, and I mean, obviously, if there's that ambition, you have that ambition, knowing, what are the inhibitors, and being honest about, like, how can I actually solve these inhibitors that are, like, stopping me from achieving my goals. um I think those are key, and always, wanting to improve. Self-improvement is key, like, always, like, have the cadence. For me, it's every month or so, having the reflection of, am I going where I want to go? Is this my path? So you just got to be diligent, um, disciplined, and logical, I guess, methodical.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So what I really like, you told us a little bit about how Cerebri started. I thought it was cool how it started off more of like a class project and transformed into like a company with 60 employees.
Right.
Aside from Cerebri, I guess, what would you say your favorite personal or side project has been?
Oh, geez. Okay. In the past few years, okay, so I haven't really worked on a lot of personal projects, but a lot of in the past year, a couple of my friends have started getting into mental health. So it's not out there yet, but we've been working on a podcast, or a series of podcasts, on how to help like how to build mental health, especially in my age group and the younger age group, and like the millennial group, I think, what I call it. There's a lot of issues with mental health, um, and healthy living, and having these conversations that are kind of brutal, like honest conversations, and how to actually be mentally healthy. I know it's completely tangential. It's not really related to tech. But for me, having the well-rounded nature is very important. Um, it's just not, even though I would say I'm ambitious in my career, it's important that, it's balanced with other things, so that, like, I'm happy in a way.
I,
So,
I I totally agree. I think that's a really cool project. I'm excited to listen to the podcast when it comes out.
Yeah. I don't know when it will or if it will.
Whenever,
Make sure to send us a link. We'll drop it in the description of this video so people can check it out too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, hopefully it comes out soon. So I'll let you guys.
eventually. Okay, so I have a couple non-tech questions I'd also like to ask.
Yeah,
But
go.
before we hop off that, do you have anything, like any resources or something you'd like to point people watching this video to if they want to get more into data science AI?
Yeah. I think most of it is well known. I can actually one of my friends or someone sent me a very good list of data and AML techniques that's used in tech or in industry. It's literally like this lady made this like whole compiled the whole list. I can send that along.
Yeah, we can add that to the
Really cool.
That'd be awesome.
That's one. I guess that's what I would say. And if you guys, I mean, getting back to what you guys were asking about mentors, if you guys want me to like introduce you to anybody, if you guys want to ask me any questions, whatever it is, feel free to ask. I mean, I'm always open. So
Awesome. That's very generous offer. Thank you. So I guess hopping off, if you weren't like where you are right now, an entrepreneur working in tech or the cutting edge of tech, what do you see yourself doing? Dream career or dream life?
dream career. So that's completely not non-tech, right?
If it is tech, I mean, if your dream career is in tech, that's fine too. Just
No,
not what you're doing
I
right
think
now.
in terms of career, I would say we will be in tech. So my dream would be to lead an organization, whether it be as a CEO or like a CTO, in building tech products, right? Actually solving business problems that are crucial for companies. So either a service industry or some kind of product. And I'm not the best person in developing products, so like I'll probably have like, a friend or a co-partner that would be like helping me with the development of product. But I think that's what I would see myself doing. I think that's my goal, say. Um, and yeah, that's my dream thing. And I'm not really keen. This is the thing that's actually my thing is I'm not really keen about which vertical per se, whether it be like insurance or banking or fashion or whatever it is. I'm more interested in solving problems. So I'm in the end like a problem solver, especially in related to tech. So that's I guess my what gives me joy in terms of my career.
Gotcha. Okay. I guess on the flip side, because especially data science is a very glorified career, ranked one of the best jobs of the century, stuff like that. And
Right.
in general, jobs in tech are very vaunted and desired. Would you say there's like a flip side to working in tech, specifically like data science, or like what? I'm sure it's not as rosy as people believe. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the flip side in working with tech, um, I guess like you know, it's in the end, when we do data science, okay, okay, here, let me answer this going in a bit more in depth. So when we do data science, right, there's a couple of ways. One is actually solving client problems, one is solving product problems, and so on and forth. And then again, the key word I'm saying, client and product problems. So in the end, you're still solving problems. And when you do data science and so on and forth, the percentage of work that you actually do data science or algorithms is like less than 10%. Most of it is trying to understand what does the client want? What is the actual product that you're trying to solve? What are the KPIs that you're trying to meet? Does the data science model fit that? And it's just a constant amount of iteration and testing and never ending testing. It's the true scientific process in that sense. So that's what I would say. The it's a lot of dirty work in that sense. But if you enjoy that sort of things, like it's great. um like what people think, or what I thought rather, right? And what I generally see when people come into data science is like, hey, look, I'm going to be doing this cutting edge algorithms and so on and forth. If you're doing research work and so on and forth, that's definitely true. But most of the time, you're just solving customer issues or product issues and trying to fit that. Um, so I think that's an expectation that's like kind of like changed, or like you tend to start noticing like, hey, this that doesn't really see what what it's kind of glorified. That's one, and the diversity is a big thing, right? So I mean, it's the you know, I mean, I've been in tech, so like the lack of diversity is a big thing. I would say that. I mean, I think people it's kind of obvious, but um, you know, it's again going back to the whole roundedness I said earlier. It's important to have friend groups that are completely different from that too, right? Or it's just going to be a big group think.
Okay.
So.
So that's kind of a lot of what I want to talk about. To close off kind of the formal question answer period. So I watched this interview a while ago. I forgot who it was by, but the ending had a section where like the interviewer would just kind of ask a series of rapid fire, completely random questions, not relating to like you in general.
Got it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is just kind of to help people get to know you as a person.
Yeah.
So favorite TV show?
Gosh, Game of Thrones used to be until season 8, and now it's not.
Okay, I feel that. Yeah, it was so good until the very end. Okay.
Or Avatar. Actually, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I just rewatched it. That's probably why.
Phenomenal show. Okay. Favorite artist, favorite musical artist.
Favorite musical artist. Gosh, right now, who is it? Drake, I think.
Okay. Fair enough. Favorite programming language.
I don't know, Python, I guess. That's what I used last time. That's what I saw today when I was reading code. So I would say Python.
Okay. What languages do you speak? Like human languages, not
I speak Kannada and English. That's it. And then I know I can understand Spanish to a bit extent.
Okay, fair enough. What's your favorite type of food?
Favorite type of food? Tacos.
Okay, fantastic. What's your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
I would say Patagonia. I went there. That's the last trip that I went on. So
Awesome. I've always wanted to go like backpacking or something there.
it's gorgeous.
What's your favorite place you would like to travel if you had unlimited time, money, everything?
Well, the next place that I want to go to is Australia. So
Okay.
that was supposed to be end of this year, but it's not happening.
Yeah. Was Patagonia like a backpacking, like very outdoorsy trip?
Yeah, it was. It was. And the next one was supposed to be Australia at the end of this year. But I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Okay.
Australia is really good. Highly recommend. You should go sometime. Maybe next year or the year after.
Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been dying to go. I want to go watch the Australian Open. Real, I don't know when this is gonna happen, but hopefully, like.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's your favorite hobby? What do you do in your free time? Your number one activity?
Oh, right now I play tennis. Like I'm allowed right now, but I mean, I think it's pickleball or tennis. That's what I do in my fun time. Or yeah.
You ever played racquetball?
I did when I was in college. When I was at UT, I played it a few times. I didn't like it as much though.
Oh, sad. It's my favorite.
I kind of like to be outdoors as much as I can.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think tennis and pickleball is the outdoorsy stuff I do, or hike around.
Okay. I don't have anything else I wanted to throw out. Ansh, do you have anything? Do we got anything in the chat?
No, nothing in the chat, and I think I can't think of anything either.
Okay. In that case, Tejas, do you have any last minute advice or anything for our attendees before we wrap this up?
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always available. That's I guess I'll say.
Yes, Thejas is one of our mentors, so he is available on Slack. And if you can't reach him for some reason, then come to one of us and we can help you out.
If we have nothing in the chat, we don't have anything, then thank you all for watching at home. Thank you, Tejas, for coming in and chatting with us and chatting with our attendees virtually. And feel free, guys, like you said, to reach out to him if you guys have any questions or want to follow up on it. All right.
Thanks, y'all. I'll see you guys soon.